برایت هاوس نامی مسمى در عرصه تکنولوژی معلوماتی.
Right? So this is the limitation of VMware Workstation. You cannot create a virtual machine more than 128 GB RAM. Even if you have RAM available on your physical machine on the hardware, but still you are not able to run that. And let me just give you an example. This is my type 1 hypervisor ESXi. I have already installed it, but I will show you how we will install it. So no worries, if you want to practice yourself, I will also guide you in today's session that how you can install the ESXi on if you want to practice on that. As you can see here, this is one of my environment. I am going to log into my environment. So let me show you some of the benefits of virtualization technology. Let me refresh. Come on, man, why are you taking time today? Okay, as we can see here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 hardwares, right? 4 physical hardware, and each hardware has ESXi installed. If I click one of my machine, this is my web server, or let me show you Windows 10 this machine. Let me power on this machine. Sorry, let me log into this machine. This is one of my machine. Right? This is my machine. Let me check the IP address of this machine. Let me show you the benefits of virtualization technology. 128 is the IP address. Let me ping my machine from this machine. I'm able to ping it. Okay, I'm not able to ping it. Now I'm able to ping it, right? Windows 10 VM022. Where is this machine running? It's running on 187 host, this one. So this machine is currently running on this machine, this host, this hardware. I'm going to move this machine, powered on virtual machine, from one hardware to another one. I can simply migrate. I can click next. I can select 190. I can click next. And this is the beauty of the virtualization technology. And you can see here, I'm moving the powered on virtual machine from 187 host to 190, and I'm still able to ping it. See? So suppose this is your database, suppose this is your Active Directory domain services. Now you can see here, this VM is running on this host. So if you have VMware Workstation, you do not have such features available. And the thing which we just did, it is called vMotion feature. To migrate, let me just show you something. So let's suppose you have 3 hardwares, 1, 2 and 3. You have this machine running here, right? You can move this machine from this hardware, from this host to this hardware, because we do have these features available, right? So which hypervisor is the type 1 hypervisor is used in production? That's the reason, because in production environment we need such features. So I hope you got my point, right? Now we are going to do the practical lab, that how we can install ESXi hypervisor on the hardware. First of all, you need to learn simply.
Yeah, Mr. Kosher, I have a question in here. can you tell me on when we are for production environment, for example, ESXi or Microsoft Hyper-V? So in how many big companies we can use it? How, for how many users it can support?
Okay, that's a good question. Basically, uh, the VMware ESXi, the VMware vSphere product. Uh, if you are taking this, I mean, this the thing which we are discussing right now. This is just 1% of my proper training. So there is a training called VMware vSphere version 7 these days. Install, configured, and manage. So this is the name of the proper training, right? In this training we learned VMware vSphere. So what is vSphere? vSphere is basically the combination of ESXi hypervisor and vCenter server. So we learned these two software here, these two components here. So vCenter is the management piece. Like you can see here, this interface is the vCenter server view. I'm managing 4 hardwares from here. So this vCenter server can manage up to, I believe, 2000 ESXi host hypervisor, 2000 hardware. It can be it can be managed by a single vCenter server, right?
You mean that, yeah, you mean that if it will be vSphere, yes? If we
Exactly.
do an Active Directory on that, it can support up to more than 2,000 users. It's correct?
No, the user story is different. I'm talking about virtual machines here.
Yeah.
So we are talking about virtual machines here. So you can Google it. Let me show you how much maximum virtual.
No, no, Mr. Just,
No, no, no.
my point was that,
I
yeah,
got your point. Just I'm for your explanation. I'm trying to just show you something. How much maximum virtual machine can be supported by a single vCenter server, and you can see here I'm showing 15,000, but this is not only 15,000, it's more than 15,000. It's, I believe, also. Let me just open it and you can see. So this VMware vSphere product is designed for small organization. It is designed for, this is an older version, so do not, the picture is from old vCenter server. So you guys can uh, open the latest, this one you can see here, and you will get the idea that how much VMs can be managed by a single vCenter server. It's more than that. You can see 40,000, right? You can see that. So the thing is, your question is how big environment this VMware vSphere can support. So your answer is it can this product is designed for small level, for medium level, and it is also designed for enterprise level organization, but it depends on the licensing as well. So if you have a big environment, you will have to purchase vSphere Enterprise Plus licenses. If you have a medium environment, you can purchase something vSphere standard licenses or something like that. For small, obviously you can use Essential Kit or Essential Plus Kit. So it depends on your environment, how big your environment is, and
yeah, it's
yeah,
clear. Thanks.
and also it depends on the hardware as well, right? If your hardwares are powerful, you can uh, so let's suppose you have created a virtual machine here, and you have assigned only 2 GB RAM to this virtual machine, and you have installed operating system and Active Directory here. So what do you think? Is it a good practice? It's not a good practice, right? Based on your workload, you need to assign RAM to this hardware, to this virtual machine, and then you can do that. So till now, any other question, guys, before I start the practical lab? I think no question so far, so let me move forward. Lab number 1. And one more thing, uh, if you want to, I showed you one thing, VMware HL. This is one thing for learning purpose. And if you want to know about the different certification levels, so the training which we are doing right now, this is a part of their training, that is data center virtualization, VCP VMware certified professional. So you guys can Google about this training as well, about this certification as well. Yes, I think he can join directly. Ayub is not able to join. There is no restriction, Mehrab. Everyone can join it. Yes. Okay. So when you click here, data center virtualization, right? And I'm just sending you the course outline, the proper, all the things. So this is a 40 hours training. Total 10 modules training. These are the course outline. So let me paste it here. So the session today is just a random session. So I'm trying to show you something practically, and after the session you are able to at least practice something on your own. So these are the things. And one more thing, I have already uploaded some of the previous lectures to my YouTube channel. So if for some reason if we didn't not able to complete all the topics, or to cover all the labs which we mentioned here, you guys can also watch some of the lectures over there and you can Google it, but I will try to finish here if you have no problem. So the lab 01 is installation of ESXi hypervisor, right? First of all, you need to know your physical hardware. So for example, you have Dell hardware, Dell server hardware, and let's suppose another person has, for example, HPE hardware, server hardware, right? Okay, what about those students who doesn't have the physical hardware? What will they do? So do you have laptop, right? Everyone has laptop?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, how much RAM do you have, guys?
8 GB.
8 GB, very good. So what you do, you can I think Windows 10 will be installed on your laptop, right?
Yes.
So let's suppose Windows 10 is installed on your laptop. So you need to do one thing, you need to install VMware Workstation, right? What is VMware Workstation? It is a type 2 hypervisor, and if you do not know how to install it, again I will share the YouTube video link. I will ask Mehrab to share it with you. Before this lab you can watch that video, and first you need to know how the VMware Workstation works. And for your testing purpose, what you can do, you can create virtual machine on top of the VMware Workstation, just like this, and you can install ESXi on the VMware Workstation virtual machine directly. This is called nested virtualization, just for practice purpose. So consider this is your physical hardware, and you will be installing ESXi on top of this, that you can at least learn how to install it. The same installation will be performed on the hardware as well. So does it make sense, guys? Are you getting my point? Perfect. So as you can see here, if you do not know, let me just show you. Simply you can open your VMware Workstation, and you can click next, and you can click next. You can select this option, and we are going to install VMware ESXi. So we need a hardware on which we will be installing the VMware ESXi. You can select this, you can give it a name. Let's suppose Bright House ESXi, right? First you need to learn this VMware workstation, guys. So I would request all of you, before this lab you need to watch my other video of how to install VMware workstation, what is bridge, what is net, what is host only, all the things I have explained there. Once you click next, number of processors, okay, that's a good point. So we need to know minimum hardware requirements for ESXi 7. The latest version is 8. VMware just released 8, but you can install ESXi update 3G. What is update 3G means? Update 1, update 2, they release some updates over there. So we can see here we only need 4 GB of RAM. Provide at least 8 GB RAM to run virtual machine in typical production environment. So that is the minimum requirements of that. You can visit this site and you will get to know about the other requirements of that. If you are in production environment and if you have Dell hardware or if you have HPE hardware, the first step is download customized ISO from Dell website. Here, download customize ISO from HPE website. Why is that? If you have Dell servers in your production environment, you need to download customize ISO from Dell website, because when you download an ISO file from VMware directly and you install it on your Dell hardware, maybe some of the hardware will not work. Hardware drivers, like let's suppose you have 2 network adapters attached, so maybe you are not able to use the other one. Maybe you have some graphic cards in your hardware, and once you install it, maybe your general ESXi ISO doesn't support that. Then you will have to install patches and updates or drivers for that. So let's suppose if you have 10 Dell hardwares, it's a difficult task. So the best practice is to download customize ISO. And if you are practicing, just like I will show you here, for practice purpose, what you can do, you can simply write ESXi 7.0 download. It will redirect you to VMware site. You can create a free account and you can download a free version of ESXi from here. You can click download, you can log in and you can download it. Once you download the ISO file, let me see here, maybe I have available here. You can see, let me copy it to the desktop so that I can show you. You can see here, this is the ISO file which you can download it. And let me see how much RAM it's required, how much space is required. 382 MB space. So this is a general ISO. So you can download this ISO, right? How much CPU is required? Minimum 2 CPU is required, 2 cores. You can click next. You can assign 4 GB RAM, for example, just for a practice purpose. What is the difference between these options? So I have also explained it in my VMware workstation video. You can watch it and you will get the idea. And if you have any problem, you can reach out to me or you can reach out to Mehrab and he can forward your questions to me. And we need a disk. So let's suppose we have attached this disk. You can also use 40 GB disk just for installation purpose, and you can attach another disk to store the virtual machine data. Just like you can see here on my physical hardware, let me show you my physical hardware. This is my server hardware, and I have like how much RAM I have? I have around 160 GB of RAM installed in this hardware, right? And if I expand this CPU, so I have two sockets here, 16 cores, hyper-threading is enabled, so I'm getting 64 cores, and I have 14 TB of disk. I have 4 disks attached to my hardware. So this is my physical hardware, and I have installed the ESXi hypervisor. But if you are practicing, you can use 40 GB disk, even you can use 30 GB or 32 GB. So let's suppose 40 GB disk will be for my installation. You can click next and finish. This is how you can create a virtual machine for yourself, just for ESXi installation. Then you can edit virtual machine settings. If you do not need USB controller, you can remove it. You can change your network adapter setting. Let me keep it bridge. What is bridge? What is host only? Again, I cannot explain it now because we are focusing on the ESXi stuff. So you can watch my videos, or you can reach out to me and I can explain it. And I am going to add another disk as well. So I will explain it, what I did actually. So I create a virtual machine on top of my VMware workstation. I assign 4 GB RAM. This is my hardware, for example. I have 2 cores CPU. I have 1 Gbps of NIC, and I have disk number 1, 40 GB, and I have disk number 2, 50 GB. So the 40 GB disk will be used for ESXi installation, and 50 GB disk I will be using for my which purpose? Just for virtual machine data, to store virtual machines data, or something like that. This is just for practice purpose, right? So I will pause for a while again. If you guys have any question, ask me question. No question so far, guys? So then you have to attach the ISO file of your ESXi. So I have ISO file available here. Once you click OK, and you can start installation of the ESXi hypervisor like this. So let me power off this one, and let me install the hypervisor on my host here, because that machine is running slow. So I will just create a VM here. What is this menu? I will explain it after a while. So for practice purpose, what I am going to do now, I will explain it as well. I have just ignore these things which I am doing right now, and we will be focusing on the installation stuff. So I will explain these options as well, no worries. So let me just explain something to you guys. Yes, Aves, we are going to learn complete installation of ESXi. I'm going to explain it. That's what we are here. So the topic is how to install ESXi on hardware, right? So in production environment, you will have a Dell hardware or HPE hardware or any other server hardware. You will download the ISO, make a bootable USB, attach it to your hardware, and start installing the ESXi installation, right? If you are practicing, right? So what you can do, you can install VMware Workstation, and you can create virtual machine. So this VM will be is your hardware, and then on top of your virtual machine you can install ESXi. And this technique is called nested virtualization. Yes, Mr. Habib.
سر جی بخښنه سره د ای ایکس آی چې دا د اپریټینګ سیستم دی لکه د وینډوز ورته جدا انسټالوو که څنګه
Exactly. بالکل 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 بالکل.
یعنې دا چې انسټالوو موږ لکه وینډوز ورته دا جدا هر شی دی
Exactly. بالکل دا وګوره کنه.
او صحیح ده مننه
دا یو اپریټینګ سیستم دی کنه یو ISO د ډاونلوډ به کیو دلته ما ویلي دي کنه. Just like you download Windows 10 ISO file, and then you make a bootable USB, and then you attach that USB to your hardware, and then you install the ESXi hypervisor, right? So you can do the same thing here. So for practice purpose, I will suggest this technique. You can use your personal laptop and you can create VM and you can install ESXi. Since I am teaching this technology, so I have different students from different countries. So I have some students, they have built their own lab. And how they build their lab? They basically purchase a hardware. If you want to practice all the topics of this training, you need a hardware with minimum 32 GB RAM, right? For if you want to practice this whole topics like high availability, vMotion, DRS feature, HA, and all these things. So if you want to learn all the labs, all the topics, you need a hardware minimum 32 GB RAM. For example, you have 16 core CPU here, right? And let's suppose you have 1 TB disk, let's suppose you have, and let's suppose you have 1 Gbps of network adapter. This is your hardware. Just install ESXi hypervisor on top of this hardware, and for practice purpose you can create VMs and you can build nested lab here like this for practice purpose. Let me show you my lab. This is my single hardware, and I have multiple batches, batch number 25, batch number 24. Currently I have started batch number 26 as well. So for each batch I have created VMs. So if I have to log into batch 4 lab, I can simply log into this and I can access all the hosts. So the host which you are showing here, these are also virtual machine. See here 187. So let me just show you here. I have created 187, 188, 189. So this technique is called nested virtualization. Nested virtualization means we are running hypervisor on top of the hypervisor. For which purpose? For training purpose, for learning purpose. In production environment we do not follow this technique. This is just for instructors, training purpose or learning purpose or testing purpose. So I hope you got my point. In production environment you will need 3 separate hardwares. Hardware 1, hardware 2, hardware 3. Minimum 3 hardwares are recommended. You can place 2 hardware as well. Depends on your technology. And I have seen many organization here, small organization, they have single hardware and they install ESXi and they have created multiple
برایت هاوس نامی مسما در عرصه تکنولوژی معلوماتی